Here's Nebo, for it is spoiled. Kiriathim, well, that's a derivative of Ker of Moab, which means enmity or wall. So there's a repetition. Now look at this, is confounded and taken. See, you spoil the old nature. Spoil is King James for ruin it, decapitate it, dig it up from the roots. Spoiled is a military term in King James terminology. You rack and ruin them. You run through them like crap through a goose. Kiriathaim is confounded and taken, torn apart. Now here, Misgab. Misgab is confounded and dismayed. That's a new one for us. Misgab, which means a refuge or a height. It means to be lofty, to be high, to exalt oneself. Well, look how that ties in to the old nature. There shall no more be praise of Moab. That's the renewed mind walk. No more praise of the old nature. No more praise of whatever the old nature used to motivate us to prioritize, to accomplish. Now, we can glean learning out of our past like I do, like I just did with those football illustrations. We glean learning. God was watching over us. But certainly, there's no more praise for whatever motives I had in that day. My motives exceed this earthen terrestrial ball. My motives are in the heavenlies, aren't yours? In Heshbon, there's one. Heshbon is the seventh aggregate of Moab listed in Isaiah 15. Now, they have devised evil against it. Come and let us cut it off from being a nation. Cut Moab off by way of Heshbon and its devices and accounts and false reasoning. And thou shalt be cut down, O madmen. There's a new one. Funny that it's madmen and it's English transliteration, because that certainly flows with old nature aggregates, madmen. And this one still blows my mind in a good way. Now listen to this. Madmen. From mad manna. It means a dunghill. A heap of crap. That's what it means. This is an additional aggregate of Moab added in Jeremiah. Dunghill. Addition to that, if I can explain it properly, but just track it through with me. It means literally a garment of simulation. Simulation. S-I-M-U-L-A-T-I-O-N. You know what a simulation is? A simulation, in a positive sense, is a representation. Like we are called a tree of righteousness, the planting of the Lord. It could be a synonym for a figure of speech, a simulation. But from a negative point of view, when garment of simulation means a dunghill, it means it's fake, it's artificial. Their very lives, their very inward life is a dunghill of fakery, artificial. It's fashioned waste material. We have those in every culture. They tell somebody they're full of you-know-what. Tell a guy he's full of crap, or he's full of this, full of that. The different synonyms people have, of course. That's what this is. That old nature, madman, is a simulation of S, and then you fill in the blank if you want to. A simulation of dung, a simulation of waste. This is God's opinion. This is God's word. He's the author. Now, in the world, these are going to be some of the most revered, honored, recognized, followed, prayed to, salivated over people in all our different cultures. God's opinion of most of them will be they're just a hunk of simulation, and they're fashioned of dung, of crap, of waste. You talk about an extended metaphor to help me understand what I'm renouncing when I renounce the old nature. You know, everybody thinks they're the most honest person in the world. They say, well, what you see is what you get. I don't suffer fools gladly. I mean what I say. Most of that is a damn lie. They're just parrots. And they got to grab for some ounce of self-respect because they're full of this dung stuff, especially religious people. Well, you and I have a shot day by day of being the authentic real deal, renouncing the hidden things of Moab, renouncing the aggregates of the old nature. Remember, the first study in the first volume, called the Blue Book, is called Release from Your Prisons. How often do I go back to that? One of the great keys is get clear and concerned. He calls them the 2 C's, clear and concerned. Are we getting clear and concerned on the old nature? I bet you didn't realize God wanted us to get this specific when we renounce, when we speak in tongues, when we stay our mind. Sometimes we're staying our mind on praise, sometime on intercessory prayer. We also need to spend an equivalent amount of time staying our mind on renouncing specific aggregates of Moab. How about that, Bible fans? Some of us have been doing this for about 10 years when I first started really seeing this thing and learning. But I'm always amazed at how the Word, in a loving way, encourages me to get more and more specific. The foundational class of renouncing is Isaiah 15, 1-9. The 17 aggregates noted there with the help of my study, because one of the aggregates is hidden in the language, but there are 17 when you count them properly from the text. King James only gives you 16. The Revised Standard Version gives you 17, a couple of other Bibles, but you can, in my work in that paper, I show you where you can find that missing village. Now we can add to them. I got to thinking, well, what would be the further profit to a knowledge of more aggregates of Moab? Well, I got to thinking about the red thread title of Jeremiah, because in Jeremiah, He, Jesus Christ, is our righteousness. So Moab, being the incestuous father of filth, the incestuous, unbelieving, arid land of Moab, of enemies of Israel, these further aggregates must be especially appropriate in light of the accuser, in light of the attacks of our adversary as the accuser. Remember, because the red thread title is He is our righteousness. So what's the opposite of that? Guilt, condemnation. You can see it, can't you? That's at least a fundamental basis of why these added aggregates are put here by Revelation in His Word. Isaiah preceded Jeremiah.